Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome to another episode of Blown for Good, Scientology Exposed. I am joined here today by my lovely wife.
Hey, hey, hey. Good to be here.
Today's video, we're going to do something. We just did a video similar to this a few weeks ago about Scientology coming after us and trying to mess with our personal lives and our businesses and stuff like that. So we just got an email Thursday. On Thursday, and we actually got an email directly from Scientology. So this is a crazy one, but we'll do our normal thing where we find out where everybody's coming in from, where everybody's watching from. If you're watching this live, we are live right now, so people can write in and comment, and we like to read out where people are watching from. It gives a minute or two for people to join into the video that are just getting their notifications or whatever. So we'll go ahead and do that.
Sounds good.
Let me put back over to here so we can let Claire read these off here.
Okay.
We got a lot of happy Sundays too.
Yes. Mary Kay London. Hi, everyone from Albuquerque. Hi, Mary Kay.
Oh, that's you.
That's me. Happy Sunday, everybody. Happy July 4th weekend to everyone celebrating that. Karen Ortiz, happy Sunday, SPs. Yes. Patrina, good evening. Mark, Claire, and gang from Reading, UK. Good to see you here. Manon, hello from a very rainy Flevoland, the Netherlands. Netherlands represents.
They really do, man.
Gretchen Philly, hi all, greetings from Philadelphia. Sherry Ann, hello from Western Minnesota. Poodlebone, hello from New York City. Awesome. Jennifer Harden, sunny Riverside City, California. Thanks for being here. Gracie K, hello from New York. And Betsy Sue, greetings from Cameron, North Carolina. Nice. Sue Donofrio Ansaldo. Hey, everyone. Saying hi from Central New York. Wow, New York is in the chat today. Yay. Becky, Big Brother fan. Hi, hey there. Greetings from Reading, UK. Hey, Becky. Kelbel. Hi from Ontario. Tracy, howdy from Wyoming. Nice. Carrie Rodriguez, hey from Virginia. Apostate Alex in the house, Chief Kopoff in Turbulation Unit UK reporting for duty. Hi, Alex. Thanks for being here. Felicia Elsie, Fort Myers, Florida. Nice. And Karen, hello from Northern California. K-Dog DK, hello from Copenhagen, Denmark. Nice. Donna, greetings from Wisconsin. Jack Shaw 809, good morning from Henderson, Nevada. Nice. Jess Wilco, greetings from an unusually hot Manchester, UK. Nice. Yeah, I always remember it being rainy. Ariana Fish, my first live. So excited. I'm in Chicago. Love you both. Thanks for being here, Ariana, and thanks for making it. Jerry Miller, hi from Omaha. The second live. Yeah, happy day. All right. Trevanon, good evening from the Netherlands.
Oh, wow. Look at this.
Britzy 74 SA. Hi from what is that? Cold South Africa?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, then. KB, I'm late. Hi, everyone from Texas. You're not that late. We're good. We're just getting started. Love Food Kitchen. I missed that one.
Oh, it just said beard for good.
Beard's looking good. Beard for good. Yep. There you go. Travis Bowman, hot and humid Cincinnati, Ohio. Yeah, it's pretty hot here too, but just not humid. Heidi, Oceanside, California. Lindy, hello from Central Ohio. Awesome. I just got my book, BFG. I just love Marty's forward. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, right.
Apparently has stood the test of time.
Yep.
Hanging by the pool in Grand Rapids. Lynette. Nice. Awesome,
guys. Thanks a lot. I think we got enough people in here that we can actually start. Usually we do it when we have 100 people in the YouTube stream.
Yes.
Watching live, then we just start. And,
yeah.
Otherwise the people on replay are like,
why do we have to hear about all these people?
Yeah,
it's all good. You know what? We
like to do
appreciate
it.
everyone who's here. It's
Yeah.
worth it.
We like to do a little community thing, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, guys. We wouldn't do this if you guys weren't watching. If there were nobody tuned in, we'd just be like, okay, I guess it ran its course there.
We can just talk over coffee upstairs.
Yeah, we can do this on our own. We don't have to do it in front of people. So yeah, how do I start this? So Claire and I, for those of you who are new, or this is the first time you're watching a video on our channel, Claire and I worked in the Scientology Sea organization. I worked there from 1989 to 2005, and 15 years of that, from 1990 to 2005, was at the international headquarters where David Miscavige worked. And Claire, what were the years that you were there? You're not 92, 91?
I started in my billion-year contract at the age of 16 in 1991. And escaped in January 2005. So 14 years, basically.
Yeah. So when we left, and we did cover a lot of this in the last video, but when we left in 2005, it didn't take more than a day for them to start messing with us, talking to our family, telling them they couldn't talk to us, and declaring us suppressive persons and all this other stuff. But over the years, they've been messing with our businesses, and they really, really try. There is a Hubbard policy called fair game, and in that, or what's the one that says destroy them utterly?
There's a whole body of policies about how to destroy the critics of Scientology, silence them utterly, destroy them utterly, do anything and everything to shut them down. And for all intents and purposes, that's what Scientology has been doing to Mark and I since the day we left. And it has, sometimes it's gone in ebbs and flows, but it's been pretty consistent, I would say, since 2010, at least, or thereabouts. Maybe 2012, I think, is what we figured out. Where
2012 was when they started the websites,
right?
But and we think this is very interesting because when we were in a lawsuit with Scientology, they didn't have anything on the internet. When we were in the middle of suing them, they didn't have a single thing up on the internet. They still did things to mess with us in person with private eyes and, private investigators following us all around and harassing our clients and people that worked for me, and you name it. We even have a recording of this. I think we got to dig that up and see if it's on Tony Ortega's blog, but it was even a guy that used to work for me that also used to work at the international headquarters. And Scientology, Tommy Davis specifically, dragged him in to the Office of Special Affairs in Los Angeles and told him basically that I was akin to Hitler, and that he, by working for me, that's like him working for Hitler. And they basically told him that if he didn't quit working for me, he was my only employee, by the way,
right,
at the time. He was my sole employee. I had one person working for me, and it was this guy. And he worked at Golden Era Productions with me when I was there as well. He was on the shoot crew that when I was the shoot crew chief. And one of the things we've always done since we've got out, is we try to hire as many people from that left the Sea Org or left Scientology as possible to kind of hook them up, help them out until they figured out what they wanted to do. If they didn't want to do what we were doing forever or whatever, we try to help them out. And
let me pipe in on that too, because there's a very specific reason we started doing that, because we realized that the Office of Special Affairs had an op in place where they would, when somebody did successfully get out from the Sea Org, Office of Special Affairs would put them in a job where not only were they making very little money, but also they could keep a close eye on them and supervise them and keep them still under their control. And oftentimes the person had really good life skills where they could be making a way better living. But unfortunately, when you've been conditioned so many years in the Sea organization, making $46 a week, even minimum wage seems like
Oh,
you're
that's a baller. That's a baller.
Right.
That's a baller move, making minimum wage there.
Exactly.
15 an hour? Oh my God. You can
Yeah.
make a week's worth of pay in one day.
Yeah, I mean, remember when I got my first job as a waitress, I forgot to even ask how much I was making. It didn't even matter to me. I was just like,
Yeah.
I got a job.
Yeah, she came out. We were literally job hunting for Claire for about 30 minutes. It was
Yes.
30 minutes into our job hunt. Claire got a job at this pizza restaurant in Lee Summit, Missouri called the Pizza Shop.
Yes, great people.
Great people. We love the family that owned that chain. They owned a bunch of franchises of that restaurant.
Yeah.
But she goes in. It said help wanted outside. I drive up. I say, oh, why don't you go check that out? She goes in, I don't know, 10 minutes later. She comes out 10 minutes later. She goes, I got the job. And I was like, amazing. How much are they going to pay you? She goes, oh, I didn't ask that. It was pretty amazing.
Out it was like $2.50 an hour plus tips. But actually, I did really good on tips.
She slayed it. She was making, I think some days she was making 5 weeks of pay in one day.
Yeah.
Of Sea Org pay, that is.
Yeah, exactly.
So the other thing I did want to say, and I wanted to kind of start, I wanted to give this as a sort of background to this, is when you're in Scientology, a lot of people say, there must be something good about it. There must be something, there must be a reason why there's people that are doing it, besides all the space aliens and Xenu and the Cooties and all that good stuff. And the thing I've been trying to figure out how to articulate this for the longest time. And I think I kind of figured it out the other day when I was listening to another podcast about cults. And it was the NXIVM thing, because there was a strange parallel between Scientology and NXIVM, even though NXIVM's pretty much almost a full-fledged ripoff of Scientology.
Yeah,
like he kind of cherry-picked things and kind of moved things around and renamed them. But it's a lot of the same nonsense that they did in NXIVM.
Yeah.
They do that in Scientology.
Even a lot of the same language, a lot of the same concepts. It's 100% an offshoot.
Totally.
Yeah.
Anyway, one of the things they do, and especially in the Sea organization, is that they beat the wimp out of you. They beat and by wimp, I mean anybody who's not willing to work, 100 hours a week, every week for the rest of your life. But they grind you down until you're basically a machine, a compliant machine that will be as productive as possible. And that's my experience in the Sea Org. But I've seen a similar thing happen with paying members of Scientology, because they don't want any slouches in Scientology. They want to get a few $1 million out of you, no matter who you are. They want to get as much money as possible out of you. And if you're just laying around watching TV and playing video games, you're most likely not going to be able to come up with that much dough to give them.
Right.
And so they want people that are going to work hard and make a lot of money so that they can get a lot of money out of you. And so one of the things they do is they make hustlers. I got to say, I really do think that, I want to say like 80% of Scientologists are hustlers. They're trying to do anything and everything to make as much money as possible so they can give it to Scientology. And one of the other ways they try to do that is they try to get other successful people into Scientology that they know can make some dough, or that are already making some dough, so they can get some money out of them. And I think that's one of the reasons why they concentrate. You hear about a lot of dentists and chiropractors and getting into Scientology, and because that is sort of a cash machine, those businesses, if you know how to do it. So they have these doctors that come in that they're good doctors, like they're a good dentist or whatever, or if you want to say a good chiropractor, but they don't really know how to organize, and they don't know how to hustle maybe. And so they basically try to give them shortcuts, if you will, or sometimes even just practices that are very common, like promote and offer subscription-based services and stuff like that. So they basically give them tips and tricks on how they can hustle and make some more dough.
Though I wouldn't credit that for, I mean, you pointed out that Hubbard ripped off much of it, but to me, the biggest motivator for those people in Scientology is the control and leverage Scientology has on them.
Sure.
So, you know, their family, they've gotten their friends in, so now they're stuck in this hamster wheel where they have to keep going. They have to keep hustling, like you said.
Well, yeah, that is a good point too. Once you start in Scientology, you're not really allowed to like quit.
Yeah.
If you understand, like you can never stop doing Scientology and remain in Scientology. They really want you to keep going and keep doing new things. And if they have somebody who did a course in 1979 and didn't do a course until 1983, they're being like, and they call it stalled. Someone who's stalled on the bridge. And then they send people out to that person. It's like, dude, you're stalled on the bridge. We need to do a handling on you, or you need to get GTFO. That's pretty much how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
And the people in the Sea Org or that are public, that they're grinding and trying to make into this money-making machine or a product producing machine, or, in the Sea Org, getting as much busy work done as possible. The people that aren't pliable and that they can mold into a machine, those are some of the people that get broken. Those are the people that you find out they had a horrible accident, or they made themselves have a horrible accident, or the people that have mental issues from what Scientology has done to them.
Yeah.
They just kick them out when they, and our neighbors know all this nonsense. We were hanging out with our neighbors the other night, and they were asking us about something. One of our neighbors, by the way, he's in here every once in a while. He kind of gets in the comments. We don't know his username, but he says that he's in here all the time. So
he enjoys chatting with you guys.
Yeah, he loves tuning into these videos. Anyway, we were talking with some of our neighbors, and they pointed out, which I never even really thought about, as soon as somebody starts to have legit mental issues in Scientology, almost 100% of the time, from what Scientology, the abuse, the mental and physical, and just the abuse that they're getting from Scientology, they kick them out.
Right.
They say, get out of here. You're useless.
Yeah.
And for somebody, for a place that, claims to have the modern science of mental health,
right,
as soon as mental health is an issue, they throw you right out of there.
Yeah, completely.
It's wild. Anyway, so
Scientology is a never-ending stack of contradictions. Once you actually start asking yourself honest questions, it just doesn't end.
Yeah.
You cannot insert logic into this.
Yeah, it's wild. But the reason I say that is because when you leave the Sea Organization after working 100 or more hours a week, working is not a big deal.
No,
it's not. It's just, especially if you're just doing a 40-hour a week job. It's sort of like
and especially when you've spent the first 30 years of your life in a cult, and now you're faced with having to hustle and build a life from literally nothing.
That's true. So not only do they make you a hustler, but they make you a hustler that's sort of interdependent on the Scientology network and your friends and family. And
they try to, yes.
They try to kind of do that. So that being said, when Claire and I left, we did work for other people when we first got out.
Mm-hmm.
And not by coincidence, I worked for a guy that the guy who got me the job was a Scientology spy, and Claire worked for a company. The people that got her that job were Scientology spies.
Yes.
So, and once we sort of
not that we knew that at the time.
We didn't know at all. We were just newbies out in the world, and they were like, "Hey, we'll pay you this much." I'm like, that seems pretty decent. And then we went and worked for those people. And then after, I want to say, probably by the end of the first year, we both pieced out. By the end of 2005, we were like, okay, I see. We kind of started putting the pieces together, and it was like, okay, we can't work for somebody that was in Scientology that we don't know, right? Like we don't trust. And then we also both of these people could speak with their family that were still in Scientology.
Right.
Even though they had left from the international headquarters like we did, which when you're there, they tell you if you leave, you're getting declared, period.
Right.
So the fact that these other people, they were sort of declared, but they weren't declared. They were allowed to talk to their family, but they were still had to do things to get back in good standing. It was a little bit of a weird thing. And then eventually we just realized, oh, OSA's making a deal with them.
Yeah.
If they spy for them, then they'll let them talk to their family. But in order to be able to continue to talk to their family, they have to continue to provide information to Scientology about the people that are, speaking out or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
and I will say those experiences, for me anyway, helped me to understand how OSA leverages and controls people. And therefore, when someone would approach us and, who had gotten out, if it didn't make sense that they were talking to us, like, dude, you're talking to your mom. If you talk to us, you're going to get yourself in a world of pain. So if the pieces didn't make sense, I'd be like, you know what? Nice. Thanks for reaching out and all that, but I'm not going to.
yeah, that is always a good sort of yardstick for
whether or not we could trust the person.
Yeah, if there's something a little pinche in the works, you're like, hey, listen, this guy's hanging out with us, but he also goes and sees his mom, who's in the Sea organization.
Exactly.
Goes and sees her on Sunday morning for an hour.
Right.
You're like,
and yet our parents who are not in the Sea Org, we're not allowed to talk to them. We're like, come on.
Yeah. So we knew that was a good sort of barometer for if there's a possibility of nonsense. That's a key indicator. Like if and some people would legitimately be like, if they weren't in the Sea Org, or they used to be in the Sea Org and they weren't any longer, or they used to do Scientology and they weren't any longer, but they were still allowed to talk to their parents, maybe because they never said anything or did anything or never spoke out. And when those people would come, and we thought we did trust them, and we said, hey, listen, we like you and all, and we'll hang out, but you got to know, hanging out with us is not going to be good for your situation. It's going to escalate very quickly. And some people we told that to, they were like, I don't care. If they do that to me, then screw them. And we do have, we probably have 10, maybe 5 to 10 people that we know that are like that. Yeah. They kind of were just like, you know what? Your friendship is more valuable than playing this game with these guys. And I never talked to my mom anyway. She's in the Sea Org. I haven't seen her in 20 years. And, she sends me a card.
Right. But nonetheless, it's talking about it in this context and reflecting on it. It's just shitty that, we were literally had nothing. We're starting over. And now, but yet we were in this big quandary of who can we trust, who can we not trust, who's trying to mess with us, already from day one.
Yeah. And we get that. People do reach out to us, obviously, because we are working with people who are leaving and stuff like that, but we're not hanging out with a lot of these people. They maybe write to us and we say, yeah, we could help you. We can do this. Or we're not giving out operational information to just randos that email us. Right. But at the same time, you always have to be second guessing. Even when we would get clients, sometimes we would get people that say, oh, I'd love you to do this for me, or, do this, Claire's business and my business. And then, if it seemed unorganic or just out of place, one time,
or too good to be true.
One time we used to have a company that did some stuff with farmers markets in Los Angeles. Yeah. And one time somebody came to the farmers market and found out that I had an AV company by talking to somebody that was working the farmers market, and they wanted me to bid on a job for them. Yeah. That's super weird to go to a farmers market to find an AV company. That's just it was very contrived. Excuse me.
Just didn't make sense.
It just didn't make sense. But also when I went to do that job, there were definitely red flags. And of course it ended up being some sort of OSA op. Yeah. And the funniest thing was, on that job, it was a giant house in Glendale. This is when we were still in California. It was a giant house in the Glendale, maybe Silver Lake area. And it had already been messed up by another AV company. Another AV company had done a bunch of the prep work and just horribly, it was just not a good job. And then they wanted me to come in and sort of fix it. It just happened to be a sort of system that I didn't really do. I didn't program that sort of automation system for the audiovisual stuff. So I brought in a guy, a Scientologist, who was under the radar, not wanting to do Scientology.
That you'd known since you were a kid, right?
That I went to the Scientology school with.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh yeah, I'll come take a look at it." And as soon as he showed up, the whole thing fell apart. Like they didn't answer my calls, they didn't answer emails, and I was all like, "Oh, I might have they were trying to throw me under the bus, and then I put one of their own people back in there, and then they were gonna have to throw him under. His daughter was in the Sea Org and all this other nonsense." Anyway, and then I actually ran into that guy at like a Home Depot like years later, and he was like, "Dude, my daughter," and it was like, and I was like, "Dude, I get it, kind of shitty that he probably got a little roughed up on it, but it was them and that it was him and them. So I'm like, hey, you guys are still playing this game, so you got to face the consequences." Anyway, okay, so and then we have done a lot of different things over the years, different companies and stuff. For the most part, I've had my main one company, and for the most part, Claire's had her main company. But
So you started your company in 2006.
Yeah.
Doing AV systems. I started my bookkeeping company in 2008. And I started learning QuickBooks in 2006, February 2006, which was the same month our oldest son was born. But yeah, that has been, and we've done multiple different things over the years, and always come back to realizing that, hey, our two core companies, that's what we're good at, that's what we know, we should just focus on that.
Yeah, but we did a lot of other things here and there, and sometimes we'd have a company that we'd know somebody and we were good friends with, and they said, "Oh, you guys are so good at that, can we do this?" And we kind of go in on something together with somebody, maybe. Or
Yep.
Anyway, so that leads us to this weird thing that happened on Thursday. So
yes,
I want to say in like 2013-ish, we had a lot of friends that used to be in Scientology that left Scientology, and they were what they call power sellers, or
for Amazon.
They
Yes.
sold, they manufactured products and sold them on Amazon. And I don't know if you guys know how Amazon works, but basically, if you have a really good product that people have given a lot of purchases have been made, and there's a lot of good reviews for, then when somebody searches for a yellow bean bag, and you're just like the best reviewed yellow bean bag in the world, then it goes to the top of the search results, and you can sell some pretty good numbers of yellow bean bags. Anyway, so there's a lot of companies that started sprouting up it's basically like product testing. You would a seller would hire you and say, "Hey, I've got these 10 products that I need to get tested, and I need feedback, and I need reviews on them."
Yep.
And then they give you products, and then you send them to people that do reviews for like product testing. And the reviews don't have to be good. They can be a bad review.
Yeah, it's whatever. The point is to get like you said, get feedback and input on the product, and then also kind of jumpstart. If it's a good product, then great. Then people will start talking about it. And in those early days of Amazon, it was very, very common.
Yeah.
We're talking like, obviously.
You can Google right now. You just go product testing or product reviews, and there's probably 20 pages of companies that do this all over the world.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And we should also mention, just as we're setting up this for context, we knew from our friends who were doing these Amazon businesses that a significant number of Scientologists were also in these power selling groups.
Yeah.
And
one of the people that we knew that they have conventions and meetings and Zooms and all these things that they kind of round these people up. And it costs to be in one of these groups where they share all the tips and tricks how to be.
Yeah, like a significant amount of money.
Yeah.
I mean, one of our friends was grandfathered in, and still I think it was like $5,000 a year, and it had gone up to, I don't know, I want to say 40 to 50,000 a year just to be in this power selling group.
Yeah, it's a lot. Anyway, there was one guy, she went to one of these conventions, and there was one guy that used to work at the base. Shout out to Kenny Davies, who was getting blowies on the bus, and that's why he got kicked off the base. Anyway, he was in one of these big groups, and he was at one of these conventions, and it was like, what? Anyway, we just thought that was funny. But regardless, one of our Amazon friends said, hey, this would be a great business, and it's not a lot of work, and it might be a great thing. And so we actually had a company that did this. And I want to say maybe after 6 months, we were just like, this is a ton of work for not a lot of money. It was just not I mean, I guess if you did it on a huge scale, it would be productive. But we were already doing really well in the companies that we had.
Yeah.
And so it was sort of like, we already have the books and the Scientology stuff and her company and my company and the kids and it's just like,
and at this time, our kids were little.
Yeah.
So I was struggling to keep up with my business and working with you on your business and 3 young children. So
it was just too much.
It was way too much.
It was too much.
Way too much.
So we stopped doing it. I want to say, I can't even remember. Like, I had to ask Claire, did we even do any reviews for anybody? Like, that's how much I was involved with it. I was just like, did we even do any reviews? And Claire's like, yeah, we did a few here and there. And I was like, okay. But either way.
Again, we're talking 2014.
2014 for like a 6-month period, we had this company. Okay. So Claire got an email on Thursday, and this is another weird thing. It went to Claire's personal email, which she doesn't share, and that's not a public thing, I don't think, anywhere.
I mean,
not that we know of.
Not that we know of.
I mean,
no.
obviously,
I mean, I'm sure
Scientology could have gotten it from a spy who might have been a friend with us who wrote to us, and then Claire wrote back to him, and who knows? But either way,
I mean, they have been periodically. OSA has been sending emails to that email. Like they always, when they're running their hate campaigns, they used to do these email alerts like, oh, you should see this new article right
that's
here.
right. We did used to get.
And so we always saved those because our attorneys advised us, just document everything, date, time, when it happens. So we have a very long list since our attorney told us that years ago.
Yeah.
She was like, there's not much you can do, but at least keep track of it with dates and times and specifics and who did what. So I know they've had that email, this personal email of mine, for a very long time, but it has been a minute since they sent me anything.
Yeah. And okay, so let me just bring up this email then.
Yeah. And this was from Thursday morning.
Yeah.
So this past Thursday, dear Ms. Headley, we are preparing an article on your LLC, Product Reviews USA LLC, which appears to be an effort to deny personal liability for a business that openly traffics in paid reviews to deceive buyers and artificially inflate seller ratings in violation of Amazon's rules of operation and Federal Trade Commission regulations. Do you have any comment you wish to make or defense you wish to offer before the article is published? Our deadline is Saturday, July 5th at 3 p.m. Regards, John Blosser, investigative reporter, Freedom Magazine.
Yeah.
There you go.
Those of you who don't know what Freedom Magazine is, Freedom is Scientology's, it's a magazine and a website and basically a propaganda arm of the Office of Special Affairs. The people who run the Freedom Magazine and most of their writers for, the last 30 years were OSA Scientology Office of Special Affairs Sea Org members. And the people who run Freedom are Sea Org members. Now, this John Blosser character is not a Sea Org member. I don't even think he's a Scientologist, really. Tony Ortega did a whole article about him, and there's a link to that in the description of the video. If after you're done watching, if you want to, find out more about this guy.
Yeah, the article that Tony did from 2 years ago it's from March 23rd, 2023. Meet John Blosser, Scientology's new shill who is targeting Graham Barry. Anyway, Tony does a great job of breaking down who this person is and his history, including that he got fired from, where was it? Let's see, whatever. Either way, it's covered in the article. And yeah, he's a character who does Scientology's dirty tricks and dirty work. And so we always try to, shout out and say what's happening and how they're trying to get to us.
Yeah, this is
just continuing and ongoing for years.
And we like to document it. And now we this is a great thing, because sometimes when this happens, I don't get the emails anymore because I basically have blocked every possible communication form that they send me. And if they do get something through, I just add it to the block list. So I try to stay off their websites that hate websites about us, and I block them if they come at me on X or whatever. I just block them. I don't really care. But now that we have a platform where we can be like, oh, hey, guess what, guys, look what they did this week. Then we're just going to do it that way. That'll be our way of documenting it, and then just making a video. And then, oh, you want to find out what happened? They did in, July 2025. It's right here in this video right here. And we remember all the specifics, and we have the email and all that good stuff.
Yeah. And their efforts are always completely inflammatory and completely just intended to get under our skin, which is where we're like, dude, John Blosser, we haven't operated this business in 2014. There's nothing illegal. And not to mention the violations that you cite are from laws and terms of service from Amazon from 2024, 10 years after we operated the business.
Anyway, so it is sort of funny. I mean, from the things that we've gotten that people have said, hey, they did this, or they told me you did this or that. They're like, okay, we got cracker licking. That was one of my major crimes. There's a spider story. I don't know if I've told the spider story, but there's a spider story. It involves a giant tarantula that I had. And then now we're adding reviewing products on Amazon. It's like, really, guys, like, you're a cult of a multi-million-dollar scam operation that's taking money from people and breaking up families. But this guy licks some crackers. Watch out for him. You know.
And to know that as of July, what was that? So Friday was July 4th. So as of Thursday, July 3rd, we're still 20 years later, a problem, a thorn in the side of $1 billion cult, says everything that we need to know about the fact that we just need to keep talking about their abuses.
Yeah, David Miscavige is definitely not happy with any of what we're doing. And that's another thing that I want to constantly point out to people, is that the Office of Special Affairs is, if Golden Era Productions was micromanaged by David Miscavige, Office of Special Affairs is micromanaged by David Miscavige.
Oh,
you can't do anything at OSA unless he knows about it or he said to do it. And you can't just, revive a hate campaign. If you're going to do something, you got to say, hey, dear sir, the Headleys are talking about our boy Tom, Mr. Risky Business, and they're talking about you, Mr. David Miscavige, and all these other things. And I'm never going to say his name the other way ever again. It's Miscavige for the rest of time, unless I have a Freudian slip. Anyway, you can't do anything in OSA without David Miscavige approving it and or directing it, period. It's just the Office of Special Affairs, every time they've done something that he said not to do and it goes sideways, then he just goes in, and people heads roll. If something happens or they do some stunt like this and it gets out, if he directed it and this happens, we're doing a video on it right now, then he's like, see, it's working. or, you know, whatever, but it's not working, Dave. It's not working.
It's not working.
You
at
guys,
all.
I don't want you to do more. I mean, if you want, you can. It's just more content for the channel. But we'd rather tell stories of crazy stuff you've been up to, Dave.
Yeah, but it is worth talking about and documenting, as you said, that to this day, their practice of fair game is alive and well, as directed directly and only by, how do you say it? David
Miscavige. Miscavige. It's easy, babe. Just remember the vag part. Miscavige.
Oh gosh.
Anyway, it's easy. Shout out to Oompaville, the Oompaville YouTube channel. I was telling you guys, oh, that's the other. I don't know if I told you this. So I was watching, I've watched this channel a bunch of times. I think I mentioned it on last week's video, or the week before, or whenever this other video came out. There's a channel called Oompaville on YouTube. And I've actually been watching this guy for several years. He had these little pugs that would just hang out with him when he'd do the video. And if he got excited and started yelling or barking or making weird noises, the dogs would start barking. Anyway, I thought it was funny. And he would mainly cover like internet and sort of like YouTube/internet social media scammers like Logan Paul and Jake Paul and, you know, whoever, Bitcoin, FTX or whatever, that kind of stuff. And I found it interesting. I found the content interesting. Anyway, this channel, like a month or two ago, maybe 3 months ago now, he did this really long video. His videos are very long form and they're heavily, heavily produced and edited. He has a whole team of people that work on his content. And he did a whole thing on Scientology. And I was sort of like, wow, that's kind of wild that he's doing that. And then I also kind of was like, I don't know. We'll see how this goes. I mean, I really do think he might get some clapback from Scientology, but we'll see. He's got a few million subscribers, I think. I don't remember, but he just did a video like 2 days ago, another video on Shelly Miscavige missing. And he quoted us like, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 times in the video of articles, or he quoted something on Tony Ortega's blog and it was covered in there. But I did think that I was like, oh, now some of these bigger YouTubes that cover scams are now, there's a lot more YouTubers that are covering Scientology now. And there's a lot more content that they're not really afraid of these old school, you know, thug tactics that Scientology does. Right. Scientology, it is very much similar to like a little baby North Korea. They have these little islands where you have no freedoms. You're not allowed to judge the leader, and you're not allowed to openly speak out against the leader. And if you do, you end up in a re-education camp, or you end up being pushed down the class system within Scientology or within the Sea Org, or however it works. The parallels to North Korea are astounding. If you take all the things that they do and all the things that Scientology do, you'd think that Hubbard and Miscavige were like, whatever North Korea does, we need to be doing that, because those people, they ain't going anywhere.
Right.
And even the fact that they have, and I didn't know this until just like a week ago, they have like ultra barrier all the way around North Korea, just like they do at Scientology bases. Gilman Hot Springs, all the CST properties, all the places that are remote have these barbed wire fences that face inward. So just like North Korea, they're not trying to keep people out of North Korea. They're trying to keep people in North Korea. That's the same way Scientology has all their sort of compounds set up that are out where they can do that. Obviously, in the middle of Orlando or Hollywood, California, they don't have ultra barrier around on the fences, but actually they might on Hollywood Boulevard, the Holiday Inn, the Hollywood Inn. Anyway, I digress. But it is interesting that there are more people covering it. So to me, I didn't think we're just going to keep doing it. We did participate in a few different things that may or not end up on YouTube. They might end up on another platform, but that we just recently did. And there's going to be,
And we have a bunch scheduled coming up
Yeah.
too. So we'll post them on the community page when they're coming out with news and updates of where they will be.
sure. And we might even do a video on them when they come out
Yeah,
to see
that would
how
be
it turned
awesome.
out, because sometimes we do these things and then they never come out right when they're about to get it ready. And most traditional media companies and news outlets and platforms, they at least contact Scientology and say, hey, we're doing a show on you, we're doing a program on you, we're doing 10 episodes or 2 episodes or a series or whatever. And then Scientology sends them these dossiers, which they just got jacked up for doing that in UK.
I saw that.
Because why do you have a dossier on this person?
Right.
Like, why? Why would you do that for this person that is not even part of your group anymore? Why would you have a dossier on them?
Right.
So we've been told by people who leave Scientology that maybe knew us or knew of us or used to be friends with us when we were kids or when we were in the Sea Org. And they show them when they leave and they say, hey, you can't talk to these guys. You got to read this binder on all the
in fact, you reminded me, one of the people that Tommy Davis and Jessica Feshbach had one of these meetings with was another person that I had started a company with.
That's right.
You just reminded me of that.
Yeah.
And she and her husband were pulled in and shown this giant binder dossier. I know, I did too. You just literally just reminded me. It was literally a nanny business. Like we were going to help, kind of a
nanny locator.
Yeah, exactly. Like help moms with young kids find a nanny and be introduced, or babysitter or whatever.
Which there wasn't at the time.
There wasn't.
And now there's probably, 100.
Yeah, for sure. There's tons of them. This was back in 2008, this one.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they were shown a giant big binder of how we were at the time. Their latest line was that we were Mr. and Mrs. Anonymous.
That's right. Because I was going to all the anonymous protests. Claire went to like 1 or 2.
Yeah, well, our kids were really little. So.
Yeah, but regardless, we didn't work with them. They also had a lawsuit against Scientology that they dropped. They bailed out of.
Yes.
And we haven't really talked to them since. But the thing that they did was both of these people were declared SPs, and they could not speak with their family.
Yep.
And one of the people, her entire family was in Scientology. Aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, mother, father, grandfather, grandmothers, everything. They were all in Scientology.
Yeah.
And they lived minutes from them in LA.
And I think at the time, even her sister was still a member of the Sea organization and had been a steward for David whatever his name
Miscavige.
I'm gonna have to retrain my brain now to
it's not hard. It's not hard. It's easy to remember. By the way, I'm not short shaming anybody, but my 12-year-old son is 2 inches taller than David Miscavige. I just wanted to just say that for the record.
He's gonna be like 6'3".
Anyway, but regardless, the deal they made with them is that they could speak with their families and be undeclared, have no restrictions on them.
Yep.
If they didn't talk to us, if they didn't work with us, and if they would basically tell them everything they knew.
Right.
And then bingo, they were just undeclared. And the funniest part is
freeloader bill was canceled.
Oh yeah, all the freeloader bill was canceled. They had a tens or hundreds of thousands of dollar freeloader bill, just like everybody else who lives the Sea organization. And you know what? I don't have any ill feelings towards those people. Yeah. I understand how the game is played, and I just don't want to play by Scientology's rules. That's all.
Right.
I don't have ill will towards you because you wanted to have contact with your family.
Right.
That's ridiculous.
Of course not. Hold on. I want to pop up this comment here because it's applicable to what we're talking about.
Okay.
Oh shoot, I lost it. Hold on.
Okay. Good job there. You can.
Okay. you were going to anonymous protests, but you weren't anonymous. You were dressed as Mark Headley, which is exactly what we said many, many times. This was also during the years of our lawsuit. We were being deposed. We had people showing up. Oh, you're part of anonymous. And Mark and I were both like, we've never been anonymous. Scientology has known who we are, where we live, and everything about us from day one. How could we possibly be anonymous?
Yeah, I did play along and wear one of the Guy Fawkes masks sometimes, but a lot of times I would just show. I mean, I'm showing up in my car, which they have PIs watching my house.
Yeah.
They know what my car looks like. They know what my license plate is. So when I go and park on the corner of where the protest is, right next to the sign, there are times when I went to protest, I parked in front of the Hollywood Guarantee building, like in front. Like there's a bus stop, and then right behind the bus stop, there's a parking space. I have parked in that spot when I've gone to protest.
Yep.
And then I put the mask on as I get out of the car, and I walk 10 steps to the front of the building. It's sort of like, yeah, I was trying to fit into the anonymous crowd, but you guys know who I am. They have pictures of me. You know, I'm not the most slender person, so this little gut of mine is pretty recognizable. And also, I've been probably wearing the same kind of shirts and shorts for 30 years. That's my jam. Okay, I'm not dressing up in, what are those called? Those tight jeans. What are those called?
I don't know.
I'm not dressing up in skinny jeans and wearing tight white
not
t-shirts.
wearing 5-piece suits or
Anyway,
whatever.
So it was funny that they called us Mr. and Mrs. Anonymous. I would always say, I don't think they know what anonymous means.
Right. Yeah.
You can't know the person. That was another funny thing. When we were in our lawsuit and in certain depositions, they'd be like, do you know who Bloody Blah is? And I'd be like, no. And then they'd be like, what about Bloody Blah? And they were giving all these anonymous members real names. And I was like,
and they were all of the, it was like 20 names that they gave us. They were like, we demand to see every communication you've had with this whole long list of people. And we were like,
who the hell are these
we
people?
have no idea
who
any of these.
And then later on, we found out when we searched them up, we found out, I think I only found 1 or 2 people who they were.
Yeah.
And they were anonymous. They used to be anonymous.
Yeah. Even that they had that list was so creepy.
Well, because they would scan plates, and they would follow protesters home and follow them on the train if they took the train. And they had teams of people that would literally, if they didn't integrate into the protest, that they would then just follow people. And that's not creepy. Following protesters home from an anonymous protest. But either way, we didn't know who any of these people were because they were anonymous. Anyway. So that's the latest thing. We didn't respond to the email. What are they going to do? They're going to be like, oh, the Headleys said this is not a big deal. No, whatever they're going to write, they're going to write. And also, somebody sent me a screenshot of a tweet they did a few weeks ago. I can't remember what it was about. Something I did, some horrible crime that I did.
Alleged.
Yeah. And it had 47 views. And I was like, when we don't have that many views on our videos, sometimes we've got a few videos that maybe have 150,000 or 200,000 views or whatever. That's on the high end probably for us. But most of our videos have like 5,000-10,000 views, maybe even maybe 3,000 views. And I'm just like,
doesn't much matter.
I'm doing this in my
I'm
doing this in my basement. You're a multi-billion-dollar organization. You've got 47 views. You guys, I mean, you have long hours, but the time is not being spent efficiently. I don't know what to tell you. If I was going to do hate videos on somebody, I think I could pull 100 views. That's double the multi-billion-dollar group.
More to the point is, we don't do hate videos.
We're just trying to educate.
Exactly.
I don't want to hate on anybody
and expose abuse. That's the reason we're here. And again, document that still to this day, Scientology continues to actively fair game us, despite the fact that we left 20 years ago and we're just getting on with our lives. and talking about David Miscavige's Control.
Babe, come on. Miscavige. Come on.
You're going to write me up now, send me to cramming. Wow.
Anyway, I got to put this up. Apostate Alex. Micromanaging for the micro man.
Oh, there you go. Yep.
Again, I'm not short shaming anybody. I'm just stating the facts. He is what he is. He's 4'13". My son's taller than that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else they've been doing lately to mess with us. They still, I think the video that they sent me was about stuff I was doing when I was 6, about how I was trying to.
Yeah,
There's
we
a video.
have,
it was
we
my
have heard
mom.
they've been putting up all kinds of new hate videos on the hate side.
The word on the street is it's getting busy over there at OSA in the Headley hate department.
And of course, okay, if that's the price that we have to pay to continue living with Scientology's fair game and continuing harassment, for the freedom to speak out, the freedom to help other people get out through the work of the Michael J. Rinder Aftermath Foundation, putting up billboards and many other exciting campaigns that we'll talk about when we next do a dedicated Aftermath video, then great. So be it.
Yeah. The Aftermath is slaying it right now.
Yeah, completely.
And also, I do have somebody from the short community. I'm a very short person. We don't claim Miscavige as one of ours. He is a different species of tiny. Okay, good. So see, we've gotten the green light from the short kings community, and
perfect.
We're good. No, nobody's stepping on any toes here. But he's not short. He's micro, and that's a totally different thing.
Yeah, micro psychopath.
Micro psycho.
Micro psycho.
Micro psycho. That could be new merch. Comedy, click clackety and the bloopity bloops down in the comments if we should do the micro psycho. Let's do some questions. Here's a good. This is super chat in here even.
Wow, Clay's Closet. Thank you. Keep up the amazing work here and with Aftermath. You are both such kind people with so much empathy, which most don't have. Love the Hell's Angels look, sir, and how y'all make each other laugh tons.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Clay's
Crazy.
Closet.
Next month, we are coming up on our 33rd wedding anniversary, honey. Crazy.
You don't have to tell me, man. Jeez Louise, folks.
Yes.
Okay, here we go. We did all these.
Maybe for our 33rd anniversary, we should do a part 2 of marriage in the Sea Org and talk about all the crazy specific stories about that. Follow up to our wedding video.
Sure, put it on the list.
Okay, Love Food Kitchen. These thumbnails are getting more and more sinister each week at the moment. Gone are the cute Marcabians, the tiny tyrants, the teen matinee idols, replaced by wall of fire terror.
Yeah, this is a serious business, Scientology, and if they want to charge people millions of dollars to find out about the space cooties, then I'm 100% going to tell people about it for free, because I'm basically saving these Scientologists, saving them hundreds, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars.
For sure.
I'm doing a service, a community service here, folks.
Yeah. And more importantly, definitely don't spend hundreds of thousands up to millions of dollars unless you know for sure that your family is at risk, your children are at risk, and Scientology will do anything and everything in their power to destroy you if you change your mind.
Yeah, I think on Tony's site, I think it was this last week, he had these 2 little girls that joined up for the Sea Org. And I was just like, you've got to be kidding me. Those poor little girls. I mean, they were young. They were like teens, like maybe, I'm guessing 15, 16, 18, something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a horrible thing that anybody could be bamboozled in this day and age to join the Sea Organization is insane. And also, I do want to say, even when we were still there in the 90s and the 2000s, a lot of these young Scientology kids that were coming in were getting eaten up and chewed and spit out. There was a lot of, especially a lot of the famous kids that had rich parents. Like there was an opera singer in Scientology, and her daughter, one of her daughters, went into the Sea Org, and the word on the street is that this girl was pretty messed up from the nonsense in the Sea Org, and a lot of the people that knew her before and after were like, they really broke her. She was in a bad way for a while. I don't know if she still is. I don't know if she got better, but This was years
Hopefully
ago.
she
now.
got far, far away from all that abuse.
Yeah, it's no fun.
No, it's not. Brian, question: how is it that the Scientology whales don't know how empty the orgs are? Do they receive their auditing outside of the empty buildings?
That's a great question.
It is a great question.
A lot of these people that give a ton of money, they go to the Florida, they go to Flag.
Right.
They're if you have a lot of money in Scientology and you're still going to your local organization, that's a giant red flag. You should have it. If you had $100,000 and you gave it to your local organization, you would run out of stuff to do there. You couldn't keep giving them more money.
Yeah.
You're going to run out of things to do. You have to go to an advanced organization, which is advanced organization, Los Angeles, UK, EU, Africa, Australia. You have to go to one of those advanced organizations. That's where Space Cootie training starts, at the advanced organization.
Yeah.
There's no Space Cootie info at your local organization. That's just a great way to look at it.
Yeah.
Nothing happening at the local organization has anything to do with Space Cooties or Xenu or Body Thetans or however you want to talk about it. That all happens at an advanced organization, which the ones we listed out, or at the Flag land base, which is in downtown Clearwater, or at their little tugboat, the Free Winds, what is it we used to call it? The Flea Winds, at the Flea Winds, asbestos headquarters, down in the Caribbean, Aruba, Curacao, or Bonaire, ABCs, Aruba, Bonaire, or Curacao. Those are the only places you can really find out about the Space Cooties and the aliens.
Yeah.
So if you're still in if you're in a Scientology organization right now and you're watching this video and you haven't heard about Lord Xenu, the Body Thetans, that's all legit. Claire did all that. She knows they're real. And also, as a interesting fact that maybe not a lot of people know, when Hubbard died, he was still trying to figure out how to get rid of some pesky Space Cooties that he had just not been able to shake.
Mm-hmm.
He knew these Space Cooties were still in him, even though he'd done all the way up to OT8. OT9 was him trying to figure out how to get rid of those Space Cooties, and he couldn't even stick with it. He had to go write Mission Earth space porn for a few years, and then he died, and then he couldn't figure out how to get the rest of his little Space Cooties. So if Hubbard never figured it out, I seriously doubt Miscavige is going to figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay, your Space Cooties are there to stay. Okay, Scientology might have a way to,
or not, or
What do
they
you
were never
mean?
there in the first place.
Oh no, they're powerful. I use my Space Cooties. BTs activate. Oh shit, I got to BTs activate. Yeah, no.
But hold on,
You have to harness the power of the Space Cooties.
Okay, calm down. I would like to add to this question though, before we move along,
Yeah.
that we have also heard from many people under the radar that Scientology switched gears to having many of the LA Scientologists move to Clearwater to, again, and we've talked about this before, but to build up an isolated, block, not a city, of Scientologists. So
yeah,
they can.
Yeah, and also, to be fair, that was sort of my job at Golden Era Productions, or the job of Golden Era Productions, is to make these videos and put on these events, which is Hollywood movie magic, to make it look like these organizations are just teeming with folks, just overflowing. They've got to build a new place because we can't even fit into the old place that was in the strip mall next to the dog groomer. I'll tell you what, the place that was next to the strip marred by the dog groomer was twice as busy as this giant mansion that they set up in the same town, where there's 3 people in there doing Scientology.
Yeah.
When there's 3 people at the place next to the dog groomer, it looked like we're doing okay. But when you put those same 3 people in a 50,000 square foot facility, good luck finding them.
Right. Yeah, and the work of Golden Era Productions, of course, is now done by SMP, Scientology Media Productions in Los Angeles. So they're still going on doing that same old. Did you all see the billboard in Los Angeles? Scientology had put up that someone wrote, F Ice. I can't remember who posted that, but one of the LA people. Haven't
Oh,
heard of
like
that.
on our billboard?
I don't know. Hadn't heard of that.
Well,
Shoot
you
me
know
an
what?
email.
I will use this as an excuse to plug Lamar.
Yes.
Lamar has been amazing. The billboard company in Los Angeles.
Yep.
If there's something wrong with the billboard, let us know, because we just tell Lamar, and if they haven't fixed it already, they'll just put up a new billboard. It's
Yeah.
part of our contract with them. Any destruction or any kind of damage that happens to the billboard, they will replace it as part of the contract. So
Yep.
go to the aftermathfoundation.org.
Yep.
And you can
shoot us you can go to contact us and send us an email.
Yeah,
there.
just let us know what the nearest cross streets are, and we'll get that scooped up if that's.
We have lots of people in LA who can go scope it out.
Yeah, I did not know that. I don't.
Nope.
I'm not on social media enough. Are you kidding me?
Question: can you make a micro Davy doll? We have those.
What do you think these are? These are fake Navy Davies. These are Captain Chucklesworth. These are the Tiny Tyrant, the Micro Psycho. I got to add that as a new product description.
Yes.
You know, we have, if you go on to the spshop.com.
Yes.
The spshop.com, all of the proceeds that come from all of the proceeds from the spshop.com go to the Aftermath Foundation.
Yep.
And that is where you can get these little fake Navy Davies, whatever.
Heidi says those are life size.
No, these are actually bigger. Sorry, this is not a representative of actual size. These are bigger, but also, hey, these do something. Check this out. I'll show you guys. You see that? You can put them on things. Like, look, this guy's riding the rocket over here. Okay, that's what he likes to do.
There we go. Thank you,
Yeah.
Clara. She added the link in the chat for the SP shop.
Do we have micro? I'm all over that. I've had these things for 2 years. Micro Davy doll.
And hold on, just to answer another question here. FYT 54321.
Just put it up.
Okay.
That's the reason they do it. They want us to read it. And they want everybody to see it. They're in.
Okay. Isn't Lamar the same company that instantly caved and removed the board that went up 2 blocks from Big Blue? No, that was Clear Channel.
That's right. That was Clear Channel. Clear Channel, not a fan. Lamar, they're doing good.
Yeah.
And also, to be fair, they have been up Lamar's end too.
Oh, they have been causing so much trouble. And again, we'll do an Aftermath Foundation update where we just do an hour of all the updates on our programs and so forth. We do prefer to keep that separate to this channel, though of course we support the Aftermath Foundation and we're on the board, and that's all volunteer. We do not get paid. It's just work we do because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Child of Cascadia. Question: are Miscavige's space cooties tinier than everyone else's so they can fit on him?
That's a good question.
It's a great question.
Now, you guys got to know something about these space cooties. And I don't want to make this a space cootie heavy episode, but in Scientology,
don't you?
You can, hey, come on. In Scientology, they think you have millions, could be millions of these space cooties in you. And when you go in session, you're supposed to go in session sometimes a few times a day when you get into the space cootie eviction level, which is OT7, right?
It starts at OT3.
Okay, starts in OT3, but it goes from OT3 to OT7.
Yeah,
that's all space cootie maintenance / evictions. And you could evict 10,000 at a time. If there's a cluster of them, you could go identify them, and then you tell them to get out, right? You tell them, you got to get out of here. Go find someplace else.
I mean, you don't literally tell them that.
In your mind, you do, with your mental masturbation, whatever they're doing in those things.
Yeah.
Okay. Either way.
The idea is to release them, whatever. It's
release,
it's really semantics on whatever you
say tomato, I say fuck that. Right. Anyway, they're evicting these space cooties and also for hundreds of thousands of dollars over the years that you're between OT3 and OT7. And on OT8, you find out that you created the space cooties.
Mm-hmm.
you find out you created the Space Cooties on OT8 and that you're basically a god. And even though that's what you find out on OT8, Hubbard was still trying to evict Space Cooties after OT8. So he was trying to shock himself with e-meters that had car batteries wired to them to shock out these last. They're like barnacle Space Cooties. They're just hanging on for dear life. They could not evict them. They were Space Cootie squatters. They would not leave, and he couldn't get rid of them.
Yeah.
So,
me of some people in the Sea organization currently to this day doing David Miscavige's dirty work, like
Yeah.
the Warren McShanes of the world and the Jenny Linsons.
but basically, his Space Cooties are probably maybe a little smaller than everybody else's.
Oh,
The other thing is, like I've been saying, the Space Cooties, you have to harness the power of the Space Cooties. If you've got Space Cooties that are really into baking, like be a baker, man. Harness some Space Cootie culinary skills and shit. My Space Cooties just like to eat, so that's all I got going for me in that department.
dear.
Okay, what else we got here?
Okay, Antonia, since OSA has to watch all these videos, have any of them left? Yeah, there's been a bunch of people who have left from OSA, Office of Special Affairs, for sure. Yep.
Yeah, and also a lot of them are passing away because
Yeah.
most of the folks in OSA are, I want to say, in their 40s, 50s, and 60s at least. There's a whole bunch of 50s and 60s.
And there's a bunch in their 70s.
I was going to say there's a bunch in the 70s. Well, these guys were in the Guardian's office.
Yeah.
So they were around in the 70s and they're still there.
Yeah, exactly.
The one that they got rid, the people that they got rid of, they're still there.
Yeah.
Okay.
John Colisa, suggestion, start calling orgs stores. There you go.
Well, see, this is a good comment because I like this. That is what they are. They're Scientology stores.
Right.
But if we water down the Scientologies too much, then Scientologists don't think that we were Scientologists.
Right.
So even I saw a comment on a video the other day. I don't look at the comments all the time, but I do see them every once in a while. I'll just check on the channel dashboard. And it said, this guy didn't even read Dianetics. That's their main book. I don't think was a Scientologist. And that is a very good point. And I should have read Dianetics, but it was a long, boring pile of turds. So I didn't want to have to do with it. And I didn't actually ever read it. So, that's probably a good thing.
Yep. Love it. Question, has Scientology ever done AI hate videos, or is it all verbal with pics?
It's mostly just our relatives.
Yeah.
People that work with
my
us.
mom, my sisters, my stepdad,
My mom,
my cousin,
my mom, my sister.
I mean, hey, nothing says cult louder than POW videos from our very own family members. I mean, come on, Scientology. I was born into Scientology. My mother joined the Sea organization when I was 4 years old. So whatever it is in your hate videos, that's from Scientology. And yes, I got the heck out the moment I was able to.
Yeah,
So,
that is another good point, which I do bring up sometimes, which is they're saying that I was this horrible person that grew up in Scientology. And I think that's why they started shifting to these videos of stuff I did when I was 6, because I really hadn't done much Scientology when I was 6. So that's when my Space Cooties were just like, wah, just wired.
Oh my gosh. Code Monkey, question, is there anything you will not eat due to bad experiences or triggers from the Imp-based cafe?
I know
That's
what.
a really good question.
You know which one I don't want to eat?
Yeah.
Musco stew.
Musco stew, yeah.
If you guys haven't had the very, very interesting dish, Musco stew, it's everything in the fridge that must go. And it goes into a stew.
Right.
And
it's usually at the end of the week when they run out of money. So there was, they're running out of stocks and they don't have money approved. So they would just literally
throw it all in the
everything
pot.
in. Yeah.
Throw it in the pot.
I mean, I had really, really bad food poisoning there twice. So
Did you eat those tacos that one time?
Yes, I did. It
Oh.
was literally the worst. In fact,
Is the taco story in my book?
yes.
If you want to know about the famous taco incident, you got to read the book. But
Yeah.
it
has to do with rancid oil, weevils, and a few other nasty things that I really don't want to particularly.
It's a pretty shit-tastic story.
Yeah.
There were people lined up. It was like they were queuing for a concert, but they were just trying to get into the bathrooms that day.
Yeah, and that was a problem because, as we've talked about before, there was a distinct lack of toilet paper on that property. So that was a shitty day.
It was literally like there were probably 30 toilet deaths that day. Those toilets got murdered.
Yeah. So I will say I don't particularly, I will still eat tortillas, but I will say that the 3 times I've had food poisoning since leaving, like that's it. Wherever it came from, that place, I'm never going there again. And not even to try, not interested at all. Love it. Wonder how many people they sent emails to who are no longer alive. Yeah, exactly. That's one of the most commonly asked things of the Michael J. Render Aftermath Foundation. How do we get off the list? So now we've developed this whole, like, all the steps you can take.
Yeah. So just so you guys know, Scientology has a software suite that they pay for. It's one of the most advanced and thorough skip trace softwares that you can buy. And what they've done is they have integrated their entire contact list into this skip trace program. And basically what it does is, let's just say they have a list of 30,000 people, that list is constant. Their software is constantly scrubbing the internet for their cell phone, for their social, for their latest anything that is on the web. Their software is scraping and updating their contact card for you with that info. So I've heard stories, people have written in saying they were in Scientology in 1972 and they're getting emails or mail from Scientology, and they haven't been into a Scientology organization since the early 70s. And somehow they have their current cell phone number and address.
Yeah. And remember that you actually got very specific information about this one fine day when we were called and told, like 4 years after we were declared.
Somebody called me from the Los Angeles org.
It was the Inglewood
org that I had never been to in my life.
Right.
Somebody called me from there.
We were by now already in Colorado.
Yeah, I'd already written a book about Scientology. And they called and asked if I wanted to come and help do the renovations of this new building that they bought. And I almost went. I was debating. I was debating going and just at least showing up and being like, hey, I'm here to do the renovations. I'm good at electrical, concrete, stone veneer, plumbing.
I'm sure it's no surprise to anyone here that Mark likes to get, he once you get him talking and telling stories, he has a gay old time. So when this person called, he just kind of like thought, you know what, I'm just going to have a really good conversation with this person. And she downloaded so much information.
She spilled so many beans. I thought she was what is that, Jack and the Beanstalk? I mean, there were beans everywhere with this cow. She told me, she's actually the one who told me that.
Yeah, I know. That's why I brought it up.
Yeah, she told me. I said, wow, I didn't know I gave you guys my new number, but I'm glad you called. I love hearing news. And she told me, oh, we have this really super, super awesome program
because Mark was like,
I'm
really impressed. How did you, how'd you get this number? And she just spilled the beans.
Yeah, she told me this whole thing they had. And I was like, oh, really? Yep. Oh, interesting. Thank you for telling me that.
Yes, exactly.
She said it was the most advanced program that would update contacts that you can possibly get.
Yes.
I mean, that could be the story they're telling everybody, but I mean, they did have a brand new cell number.
Yeah.
That I didn't have when I was even in the C organization.
Yeah.
And it was from an organization that I'd never been to. Right. So it was definitely weird.
Okay, we'll do a few last comments and questions, and then we'll do our giveaway and wrap it up for this fine Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
SP Danny, hey Mark, can we still email you if we think we have a PI following us around? I remember hearing you say we could in a past podcast.
Sure, if you take pictures or whatever. The thing that I don't want people to do is I don't think you should run from them or try to evade them. If there's any kind of safety, like if it's on the road and you have a PI following you in another vehicle, if you feel like you're in danger, then absolutely call the local law enforcement and tell them that, hey, I am in this kind of world, and I think the Scientology private investigator, just somebody's following me. Make a report, and if nothing comes of it, nothing comes of it. But at least it'll be a document. But don't. I wouldn't confront them. I wouldn't cause a scene. I would
definitely don't engage.
Just do your thing. I mean, I used to say, if you're doing nonsense and you're being followed by Scientology, then they got you right where they want you, because they want to smoke out some nonsense. If you're not up to nonsense, then it's sort of like, they're going to see what kind of eggs and cereal you buy at the grocery store, or where you like to go get coffee. It's like, who cares really? What kind of nonsense is that?
Yeah, most of the time, it's really for the impact and reaction from you. That's what they're trying to get. So.
Okay, let's do one. Oh, Matt.
Okay,
Denny.
Matt Denny. Hey, Matt. Question: how long does it take for you to trust new people?
I think we sort of have a good radar for that kind of stuff these days. Yeah. And also, we're not going clubbing. We're not going to, mixers.
No, we
we're
work, we spend time with our kids.
It's like, if you're not in our circle,
with our pets,
you're not in our
circle. We hang out with our neighbors. And that's really, and of course we talk to a lot of different people. I don't know. I try not to focus on who we can trust or not trust, though. Yeah. I mean, it is an element. It's undeniably an element, but
we had some friends. I don't mind telling this story. We had some friends that we met in the last few years, and a lot of our Scientology friends were convinced that these new friends that we made, were spies. There was there was a lot of coincidences on how they kind of ran into us, and that they knew us before they ran into us. And one of the people was a very big fan of Depeche Mode, and we actually met at a Depeche Mode concert. They were sitting next to us at a Depeche Mode concert.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I don't know if you guys go to concerts, but if you try to get the seats next to somebody that you don't know where their seats are, and even if you do know where their seats are and you're trying to sit next to them at a sold out concert, I mean, and so I even told this. We had dinner with them about a few weeks ago or whatever, and I told them, if you guys work for Scientology, you're the best goddamn fucking spies that they've ever had. And I told them that to their faces. I'm like, and you've probably spent a good $20,000-$30,000 on Depeche Mode concerts, and I've been to several concerts with these people in the last few years.
Right.
So, I mean, if you're playing the game and you're that hardcore, then hats off, man. And I'm not telling these people
and also
operational info that's going to jack me up. Right. I'm just like, I'm me.
And they've also come up with some really, really good ideas to help the work the foundation does. And also too, I just want to say, our friends can think whatever they want. We're not going to decide somebody is a spy because somebody else thinks they're a spy. We just have always made our own decisions about that.
Yeah. And we also sometimes still talk to people that used to be kind of working with OSA here and there.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
Like they were reporting to OSA, would ask them questions and they'd tell them something, or be like, I don't know anything about that. And then sometimes they'd say, yeah, I don't know how Mark bought that new car. I don't know what he's doing for who, but he does have a new car, and I'm just like, okay, whatever. That's not,
like we said,
it's not that big of a deal.
No, we have nothing to hide. We just work hard and do what we do. So we're going to keep doing that.
Awesome. Let's do some giveaways.
Sounds good.
Oh, I pushed the wrong button. There we go.
Yay.
Are you guys ready for this?
Yeah. So just to reiterate the rules of this little giveaway, if you've posted a comment in the chat, you are automatically entered to win something, and you get to choose whatever it is you'd like from either the BFG merch store or the SP shop.
And any comment is entered. So you may have commented 5 or 6 times. It's only going to use you as a a draw. It's only going to draw from,
Yeah, you'll only get picked once.
yeah.
Or
However that
you'll
works.
get drawn. Drawn. Oh my gosh. We're falling apart now. It's time to move along here with our
running on a
Sunday.
real lean mixture right now, folks. Just a couple sandwiches short of a picnic.
Yeah.
Oh, I almost won.
Oh, nice.
Oh, Dalton almost won. Lupita.
Oh, Lupita.
There you go, Lupita. I don't think
saw
has
your
Lupita won
comment.
again? Has she ever won
I
before?
don't think so, but I saw her comment that to pray for people in Texas that are being impacted by flash floods currently. So please all stay safe.
Email Claire. You know the normal routine, Lupita. You're a frequent flyer. You know what to do.
Yes, you know what to do.
Awesome, guys.
Congratulations, Lupita.
I lost my mouse. It's gone forever.
Oh, that's fun.
Yep, I really
you want me
did.
To take over?
I just don't know where it went. I don't know. Hold on, I'll find it. Just keep talking. You read some comments or something while I.
Okay. All right. Let's see here.
I really did.
That's great, honey. That's super exciting.
It is kind of wild.
Let's see here. Oh, sorry, folks. I don't even know how to get that thing off this.
We've lost control, folks. No, I literally, last week we had the internet was jamming it up, and it was just. Oh, you're doing
okay.
more.
Lynette says, "Do you think Dave is currently planning his escape in preparation for when shit hits the fan?" I don't think he's planning to go anywhere or turn over anything. I'm sure he has evolved his levels of plans of how to disappear and how to evade process servers and things of that nature. That's what I think.
Are you seeing this?
No.
Look at that.
Oh my gosh. Wow. So Mark's mouse is now literally on the desk on the table, and I can see it loud and clear, but
I'm on another computer
it's
somehow.
Literally like the mouse just
I'm sharing.
One of your space cooties went into your mouse and has now taken over.
But how do I get back to this screen?
I don't know, honey. It's a mystery.
This has never happened before, babe. We've got space cootie cluster. It's just can you control this thing? Can you control stuff?
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
can you go back to the normal thing?
Which one is the normal? This one?
The one that says normal. Yeah.
That one?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Good job.
Did it. Yay.
She did it.
That was a close call.
Can you go over where it says end stream right there? Can you go to end stream?
Yep, I can. Otherwise, we'll be sitting here for the next 2 weeks while Mark figures out how to get his. Yeah, okay, I can do that.
Holy moly, folks. Sorry about that.
Call.
I was going to say we had internet space cooties last week, and I didn't get rid of any of them. I just transferred them from the interwebs to me. So our internet's good, and now I'm more powerful. But we had the cable company get back out here, and they scrubbed everything down, and everything is amazing now. So we should be out of the space cootie realm on the interwebs.
Fingers crossed. Our recent speed tests have shown that many space cooties were eliminated in that process.
They weren't eliminated. They were transferred.
Whatever.
They were relocated peacefully and very intergalactically. You can't say humanely. You have to say intergalactically. Our method was approved by
would be judgmental of space cooties.
Yeah, it was approved by the internet, the Galactic Federation. They approved the relocation plans for the space cooties. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you. We'll keep going despite whatever Office of Special Affairs throws at us next.
And if you want us to review some of your products that are on Amazon, we can't because we shut the company down 11 years ago. Scientology's hot on our trail. They're only 11 years behind. We've got 11. We can get up to nonsense tomorrow, and it's gonna be in a video in 2037.
So I guess that means we have a lot of upcoming content. I won't
even be here. Okay, guys.
All right, been real. Take care.
Till next time. You got to put up comments in the after you do the end stream. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to help support the channel, feel free to check out the merch store link in the description. We have Hail Xenu is my homeboy, and BFG branded mouse pads, shirts,
mugs, all sorts of other stuff in there that helps us to bring you new content on a regular basis. You can also pick up a copy of my book, Blown for Good, Behind the Iron Curtain of Scientology, in hardback, Kindle, and Audible versions as well. There's also a link to our podcast, and you can get that on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you'd like to watch another video, you can click on this link right here, or you can click on this one here, or you can click on the subscribe button right here. Thanks a lot. Until next time.